Keep your proud natural thriving with kirahkinks 100% natural hair growth oil and butter. Our specialized hair growth formula is designed to combat hair thinning, hair loss, and stagnant growth while leaving your hair soft, full, and manageable. Infused with the best natural and organic ingredients, kirahkinks guarantees a long-lasting impact on your hair growth journey. The aroma is divine and your hair will shine. Say hello to healthy moisturized hair. Invest in your proud natural at curated.com.
My skin is black.
What you looking
My
at?
skin
Yeah,
is black.
I feel so good
My
to be
skin
black right now.
is
Welcome
black.
to episode 79 of the Black in Fashion podcast. Today I am joined with Zen. Zen, say hello to everybody.
Hello, everyone.
Thank you so much for joining me today. I'm actually very happy that we got a chance to get on the podcast so that way we can discuss like your background, your journey, everything that you've been a part of. Zen has a retail business that supports independent brands. And, we are definitely in the wave of making sure that we continuously, support Black businesses, support Black brands, and just make sure that visibility is shining through, especially when it comes to the fashion industry. So, of course, we can't start any episode without acknowledging our sponsors. This episode is sponsored by kirahkinks. kirahkinks is a hair rejuvenation oil that helps spread healthy hair growth, decrease split ends, and breakage. The aroma is divine and your scalp will shine. She offers hair butters, hair oils, detangling brushes, everything you name. Black owned and based in Chicago. Of course, we have the Assembly Line. The Assembly Line is a full service fashion consulting firm that focuses on cultivating and developing emerging talent by providing resources and guidance on all fronts. They provide various services including project management, brand building, creative services, product development, and all around consulting to build new brands and elevate established fashion businesses. Their mission is to empower entrepreneurs at any stage of their business and is here to help build your brand from concept to consumer and everything in between. So Zen, of course, I like to start with a little icebreaker. I like my this or that game. So I'm going to name out a couple of things and I just want you to say which one you prefer over the other. Cool?
Okay.
Are you a beret or a brim girl?
Oh, beret.
Beret. Are you a wide leg or a skinny leg girl?
Ooh, a wide leg.
A wide leg. I always like to go daring. You a side boob or under boob girl?
You said a sad boo?
Side boob or under boob?
Oh. Oh. Either or I'm a wife boo.
I hear that. I hear that. And are you a stiletto girl or a mule girl?
Stiletto.
Stiletto. Nice. So if you want to just start out by telling us like a little bit about your background, where you're from, your inspiration, and just like, where you went to school, what inspired you to pursue a career in, brand building and supporting brands.
Yeah, so let me just sum up just my life just real quick. So so as being the founder and CEO of Fason, my journey really started me just realizing like trying to figure out what I love to do after high school. So after high school, I actually wanted to pursue becoming a nurse, and that changed as I started realizing that everyone was just complimenting me on the things that I purchase, the things that I buy. And then I was just curious on like, okay, what is something that I love to do, which is shopping, and what is something I spend my money on, which is shopping, and what is another thing that people actually give me compliments on, which is the items that I pick. So I started being a little curious on like how to become a buyer and how to open a retail store. So that curiosity while I was doing like internships, in the medical field and started doing phlebotomy, got a great job working in the nursing field. I decided to take another leap, a leap of faith and follow my gut. So the way it fell in my path was that my brother had a friend that was doing t-shirts, and he had a store, but he was literally just worrying about his craft. That's what a lot of, brands, the makers, they just want to focus on designing. So he was focusing on designing, and then I decided to just, hey, my brother introduced us, and he asked me, can I help with the aesthetics? So I was like, hey, yeah, I can help with the aesthetics of your
So like the
store.
visual merchandising of the store?
Yes,
Oh,
the
and the
visual
interior.
merchandising.
Gotcha. The visuals,
Yes,
the
and
interior. Okay.
yes, and the interior of the store. So yeah, so I helped with the interior, and then just, like displayed everything correctly from all his t-shirts, color coordinated and stuff like that. And then so
Nice.
he was like, "Oh, we should partner up." And I did start like my buying journey, but I wasn't like really doing it as in full blown capacity.
Gotcha.
So I collaborated with him, and from there I opened up, like 2 years after, I opened up my own brick and mortar store. And since then, like, I had quit my job, and then I was just like, let me just put my whole passion into becoming a buyer in the
Mm-hmm.
retail industry. Yes.
Gotcha. That's nice. Okay, I like that. So, what do you feel is something that, like, a misconception when it comes to buying? Like, what is something that you feel that maybe you've learned along the way that, initially jumping into the career that you had no idea that it entail? I know just from previous interviews and speaking to people, they don't realize how much math is involved. And
Oh, yes, the numbers is very, very important. And then when you're working with independent brands, the numbers is totally different from just like mass production and
mm-hmm.
fast fashion, right? So I had to learn a lot about just how to display every brand that we carry in one location, and also communicating with independent brands. Like, you have to have like a price point that a buyer could purchase and also make profit as well. So throughout my journey, I noticed a lot of minority brands was designers and makers, but they wasn't playing the other side, which is wholesale, like
Gotcha.
knowing your wholesale numbers. So you can pitch to a buyer to carry your line in a store. And I also realized there's not a lot of black buyers in the bigger marketplaces.
Mm-hmm.
If we had more buyers at the table, we would have more black owned brands in other stores, because
Mm-hmm.
it's a black owned buyer just actually pitching that to a store and to make that decision, like, we need this product in our store, this is our target audience, this fits our audience, this is our why we need to carry this product, and this is their price point. So
Gotcha.
I did learn about that, like as in the buyers in the marketplace, as in the buyers that's part of these big retail stores. That's why we don't have a lot of shelf space for minority brands, because there's not a lot of buyers at the table.
Gotcha. Now, just from coming from like that PD world, like that product development, corporate world, and stuff like that, what I've seen is that buyers always try to turn into designers. So I feel like they do know
Mm.
the trends, they know what should be on the store, like should be on the sales floor and all that other good jazz. But it's like, does it take away from the creativity of the designer if the buyer is initiating what needs to be created?
Yes, and I totally agree, because I went in that route too.
You did.
I went in that route because because it was certain things I wasn't seeing in the marketplace, and
Okay.
I was like, oh, I want to make a certain jacket for our store with this certain print. So I did go through that journey, and I still make little stuff,
Mm-hmm.
but I didn't really want to focus on two hats as the buyer and also a maker. But I understand why buyers end up doing that, because if they don't see a brand making it in the marketplace, they
Mm-hmm.
actually want to design it, and then they probably want to design it just because they know their brand, their company, and just want to design based off of what they're not seeing.
Gotcha. And do you think it's okay for them to initiate it to a designer? Because I've seen buyers straight up just tell a designer, "Nuh-uh, you need to redesign this. You need to do this instead," and pretty much take over. Like, have you ever seen that happen? Where, especially in corporate companies, because like I said, I came from that product development world. I would be in a meeting with a buyer, and the design team would pretty much present all of what they thought were the trends and what they were gonna create and blah blah blah, and then literally have a buyer like rip them to shreds. Like, nope, this needs to be like this sleeve needs to be longer. It needs to be this print. It needs to have this, and it's just like, well, damn, that completely takes away from the designer. Have you ever seen that or witnessed anything happen like that? Because to me, it would be a shot at my, my ego, and my self esteem. If somebody like, I spent days and days presenting this, and then you just basically come in here and be like, nah, this is what I want.
At the end of the day, I feel as though like as a buyer, we studying what's out there, what's the trend, and what's not too trendy, and what's best to actually make a profit, to
Mm-hmm.
actually sell, right? So yes, I experienced that being in like meetings too with other buyers, just going through like a New York like show or whatever, as in a buy-in show, and they would have like a runway type of thing, and then like
Mm-hmm.
have a consultation with the company that wants to carry your brand, and we would sit there, and yeah, I'm guilty of it, like this is a trend to plaid. I feel as though you should have a pocket on the top corner. I feel as though it should be cut this way, due to knowing what my customers like to and what's in the marketplace and what's not to be too trendy. Like, oh, this is too trendy. That their plaid is in every like catalog commercial and things like that. So it's just a balance. It's like, yes, we could give our critique, like, criticism of like, this is what we want, but this is where it comes down to the brand owner sticking to your designs. It's
Gotcha.
because at the end of the day, we as a buyer is selling your product. So if you don't like that, how we as a buyer are giving you feedback of what would sell best for us, because your product is going to be the one that's out there, and that's where we're going to be selling it. And if you don't like that part of your collection, just
Mm-hmm.
stand your ground. Be like, no,
Like, no, I'm not
this
doing
is
that.
my brand. Yeah, like I'm not doing that. Like this is my brand. And sometimes people do make those adjustments, knowing the fact they in this business to actually make money and not just for fun.
Gotcha. Okay. So tell me this. Have you been to Magic?
Yes, I have.
Okay, so tell me how a buyer, a new store owner, a new boutique owner, what are some of the tips that you can give to be prepared for that? Because I know that, I mean, I've been, of course, so the show is massive. It's a lot of things to see, to do.
Yeah.
Like, it's just a lot. How would you tell a new person that's working, whether to, doing online or stocking their own boutiques, what would be some of your tips for attending like a trunk show, well, not a trunk show, a trade show like Magic? And do you have any instances where you feel that there's certain ones that people shouldn't attend, they should attend? And I just want to kind of know about like what you feel about that world, that trade show world.
Well, so since I started the journey based off of curiosity, it was like doing my homework, right? Like, so I started off before Magic and going to the New York shows. I started off going to local events, right? So I used to always like do my own research, and you should do your own research too, like knowing all the brands that's going to be in Magic, go into their social media. Well, before, like now it's so much easier. When I started in 2012, like it was Snapchat. Was it? No, not Snapchat. Whatever that was. It, no, not Snapchat. Whatever that platform was. MySpace, and stuff like that. But now it's so much easier for you to actually find the brands that resonate with your company and look at their social media, look at their website, look at their price points, and make a list of the brands that you want to make sure you target, because it can be overwhelming. You see all of these vendors, I mean, all these brands set up, and you're like,
Mm-hmm.
ooh, I want this, I want that, I want this. But knowing which ones you actually want to approach,
Mm-hmm.
and making sure when you there, just like networking, you speaking to the right person, the right brands, and then everybody else you could grab their information. But you have to be prepared, just like networking. Who do you want to speak to when you in the room? What brands do you want for your company? Because it's very, very overwhelming. And I'm the type of person like a kid in a candy store, like, oh, I want this brand. Oh, I love this blazer. Oh my god. But I still have to be focused when I go to those shows and have a list of people that I did my homework and research on.
Gotcha. And then what, I guess when you're there, do you feel like you got to have your negotiation hat on, or like should you not always take like the first offer? Like how do you feel it's go, like how it should work when you're working with the sellers and the brands that are there?
Well, my thing is during that time it's hard to negotiate because brands is literally passing out their line sheet. Like they already set up. It's like here go my line sheet. Like I know my wholesale and retail prices.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like here go my line sheet. They did their number crunching already. And then when you actually ready to make a purchase, sometimes you make a purchase right there on the spot
Mm-hmm.
because you did some of your homework already, knowing their price points and stuff like that. So you purchase right in the spot. But if you're doing a follow up, that's when that email negotiation happened. Like if I buy this certain amount of quantity, would the price change? If yeah, usually prices change due to quantity base, like how many products that the buyer is gonna purchase. And most likely the brands do negotiate that. Most likely is like more, the more you buy,
Gotcha.
the easier is to negotiate like the wholesale price. But when you go to those shows, literally it is a line sheet that's already presented, and if it is a brand that is there new, that show automatically make them have a line sheet so they could pass out, like
Gotcha.
it's like their promotion and everything.
Gotcha. Well, what are your, I guess, your thoughts and your feedback when it comes to, I guess, terms? Do you think that as a buyer that there should be, 50% down, or should it be, COD, or what have, I guess, you experienced in the past that has worked really great for you?
um and it's different levels. So
Okay.
we work with brands that's already well established. Like I'm just gonna throw like just a brand people know is Free People, right? And
Mm-hmm.
then we work with like brands that's already established. So negotiation is really quantity wise. We work with brands that is still established, but they're still figuring out their wholesale retail. They still figuring out their wholesale price because they
Mm-hmm.
so used to selling direct to consumer,
Mm-hmm.
and they haven't did the wholesale side. So sometimes we and my company actually provide a consultation like how much we will pay wholesale to also not compete with your retail price. So depending on the brand level where they at, but negotiation always happen regardless. A bigger brand, if we need more quantities, we are negotiating. A mid-sized middle brand that's like in a few stores, like 10 stores or whatever, they have their line sheet, and some certain designs it is negotiable. And let me see what else. It's really with the brands knowing their wholesale price
Mm-hmm.
and their retail price, because as a buyer, we not trying to figure that out. We just want to make sure like like seriously, I'm like, oh, please have your line sheet because it's easier for me. And then if you don't, I am so open to teaching, especially our people, just how to get your products in retail stores, how to be correct. Because when you drop off your advertisement, buyers just want to know the numbers and they
Gotcha.
want to see the merchandise.
So I just want to know what's going on. Okay. So, as we move into the second segment of our podcast, we have to acknowledge another one of our sponsors at J&J Legal. They help fashion designers and entrepreneurs build their brands, protect their creativity, and secure their legacy. They offer legal services and trademarks, copywriting, business formation, and contract drafting and revising. You can book a free minute discovery call with them today and start to get your fashion empire on the right track sooner than too late. You can visit them at www.jnjlegalservice.com and follow them on Instagram at jnjlegal on Instagram. So I want to get a little bit into, I don't want to butcher it. Is this Faison Deville? Am I saying that right?
Oh, façon de
Fason
vivre.
DV.
Yes.
Fason DV. I just make sure I'm saying that
Yes,
right.
façon de vivre, and
Yeah,
it means lifestyle in Haitian
gotcha.
Creole.
Got it. Okay. So let's talk. I just want to talk a little bit about, like, I know it supports like emerging and like minority owned brands and stuff like that. But like, what was your, I guess, like your inspiration behind finding this and like, and creating the mission behind this?
Well, one, I always say, you know your culture better than anyone, right? Like I'm black first, okay? I'm
Right.
black,
I hear
so
that. I hear that.
like I'm black, black. So, to be honest, when we first started off, I was just trying to figure out me as a person, as a CEO, me as a
Mhm.
person and what I bring to the marketplace. Like, what is my why? What is my why?
Mhm.
And knowing a buyer is the one that makes the decision on what's on the shelf space when you walk into a store.
Right.
So I was like, okay, we had some dope black owned brands, and I was raised like that, anyways, because I came from a family business.
Mhm.
So coming from a family business and a family business that import and export from Africa, Haiti, and things like that, I just already had that in my bloodline. Like, black always. Like, I have a Black Panther kind of father, mother.
Hey, girl, I'm
Um,
with you on that, girl. Yes.
so it wasn't nothing like like a little trendy mission. It was just
Mhm.
like, this is just my lifestyle. And when I went to Haiti and I rebranded like 3 years, I would say about to be 3 years, and changed it to Fason de Vivre, I knew the history of Haiti as in the independence and their marketplace crashing down, which
Mhm.
was giving economic stability for their country. And I was like, oh snaps. Façon de vivre. It means
Mhm.
lifestyle. The people that shop us is conscious consumers that understand the importance of like buying from a local and
Mhm.
supporting a minority. Listen, if I could get a toothbrush from a black owned brand, why not?
Right.
I
You're
mean,
absolutely
it's
right.
a essential that we use all the time. So why not get a black owned toothbrush? It's not like we buying something out of the norm. It's just a black owned T-shirt. Why not? I
Right.
mean, and it's supporting economics. That person is actually feeding that woman that's making that candle is feeding her children and family. So it
Mhm.
was like, okay, me as an independent brand myself, it was like, okay, I want customers to support me, but it's not even about us. It's about the brands that we carry, because as a buyer, I'm buying from them, and then the
Mhm.
customer is buying from them, and it's just a full circle of the economics.
Full circle. I feel it, and I was just about to ask you about how important you felt like it was, for minority fashion brands and retailers to produce and selling products, and you pretty much
And
just
we picked the cotton too, girl.
right,
We
exactly.
picked
I
the
feel like all
cotton.
cotton need to be free for us anyway.
Yes.
Like I should never have to pay for a cotton T-shirt.
No
My
fabric. Don't
ever,
pay for
ever,
fabric.
ever. Like if it's cotton, I want it for free. Where's my
And
40 acres
listen, we
and my
wear
mule?
clothes.
I want my
Exactly.
40 acres and my mule. That's what I want.
Exactly. To build my factory on my acres, okay?
Thanks. That is so funny. So how has it been like building a business like, in COVID too, like just this past year and like all the different things that has happened in the world. Like how has it been, for you? How has your journey, been?
It's making me go harder.
Mhm.
I am gonna be honest. If you get distracted by the outside world, it's always going to be like something that affects your company. Like, when we was in one location, we had to close down due to construction. They didn't want to negotiate how they stop ourselves, right?
Mhm.
So it's like I've been in business with 8 years now. It's like certain things that happen financially, emotionally, personal life, business life. It's
Mhm.
like you have to have like a tough skin. Like, I'm still in this. Like, I'm not getting a job. I am still in this. I don't know what other job I would be doing. This is my job. Like, I have
Mhm.
to show up every day. So when COVID came, it did affect us. Like, it affected us with cash flow. It
Mhm.
affected us with employment. It affected us from actually buying what we need to buy to cover our square footage space, our 3,000 square foot space.
Mhm.
But during the pandemic, we opened up our new location, a 3,000 square foot space.
That's the
That
one
was
in Center
crazy for
City.
me. Yeah,
Center City.
yeah. That was like a
I was just
spiritual
about to ask
move.
you about that too. I'm like, so how is this new flagship in Center City?
Oh wow. My thing is, I like, of course, traffic and then the world shutting down. We sell clothes. It was 100% of like, well, I would say 90% of the merchandise, and then I had to change the way I was buying, even with the fashion, the clothes part, because we carry women's clothes, men's clothing, which is currently new, 3 months, beauty and wellness products, accessories, and house and home. So we added to our collection due to the fact that COVID too, like, okay, we had more candles because everybody's home. We had
Mhm.
more beauty skincare products because everybody home. Our wardrobe changed because people was home, so we giving them lounge wear, we giving them chill, go to the supermarket, but you can still be cute type of outfits. Um,
Mhm.
so I had to change the way I was buying, but it made me just adjust. it like adjusts to the environment. I had to adjust, and we still wanted a retail experience. We, after leaving one location to a studio, I wasn't comfortable just in a studio, just strictly online. I was like, oh, nobody sees us.
Right.
Nobody see none of this, like none of the things that we're doing. We get more people like seeing us in a street level or in the mall level, and that helps with marketing. So when this opportunity came, which was in my vision on my vision board 2 years before this happened,
Mm.
I was like, if I open a new location, it's just going to be in the fashion district when they open. That's the only location on Walnut Street. And the opportunity came, and I was like, that's just a sign from God. It doesn't matter when the opportunity comes. It's really when you gonna jump on that opportunity, because like my father always say, if you're not in the ring fighting, you
Mm-hmm.
not you're not in the game. You're just not in the game. You on the sideline. So I was
Mm-hmm.
like, when the opportunity came, I was like, you know what? Let me get some grant money to open my store
Right.
since this pandemic happened. And I'll be real honest, when it is your passion and and you want to manifest this, and this is your vision, and you know all the work that you put into it,
Mm-hmm.
it's going to happen how it's supposed to happen, and you got to ask for more. This is the
Gotcha.
biggest square footage I ever managed. This is the adding new people onto our team because we need more hands on. And it really didn't slow me down. It made me work a little harder. Yes,
Mm-hmm.
cash flow slowed down, but my team is much more important, because if when I had my foundation like solid, when the world opened back up, we ready for the let out. That's
Right.
it.
I'm about to send you I'm gonna send you an email with I make handbags.
Oh yeah, please
Yeah, I
do.
sure will, girl. I'm gonna send you just like all of mine. I'm gonna send you a link. You
Yes,
tell me, because I have right
yes.
now a lot of my stuff is in Chicago. My mother is
Okay,
my distribution manager, so she has a lot of my stuff
nice.
online. But I think people need to see, like, see their products. I make all my leathers and suedes and stuff like that are all from Italy. They're all lined with 100% silk. They're made right here in New York. I
Nice.
like, they're really really good. I've been working on like my visibility, because I'm so focused on, like, the teaching and the mentoring, and I have a wait. Did you know? Do you know I have LCP Apparel? Yeah, because you've listened to them. So LC Apparel Consultant. I'm like, I got a whole team, and I don't feel like I put enough time and attention like into my own brand. But I'm gonna get there.
Yeah.
But I feel
Yeah,
like I definitely got some stuff.
multitasking.
Yeah, that sticks with you. And City Center. That's just like isn't like in the heart of Philly.
So the fashion district, one, it was the old gallery. If you're from Philadelphia, you remember it as the old gallery. When I used to be a teenager, I
Mhm.
used to come down here and shop. But it is in Center City, 901 Market Street. It is in like the Center City, around the corner from like, like the main like tourists.
Gotcha.
And we just next to like bigger brands, and that actually helps with marketing. Like when
Yes.
somebody come and shop Nike, they see us.
And they
When
come
somebody
on
come and
in.
shop,
It definitely helps with your
exactly.
foot traffic for sure.
It helps
So,
with foot traffic, because
mhm.
before I had, just street level, of
Mhm.
course, around other boutiques, but we were, and I no longer say boutique no more, because I have the same square footage as Express. I'm like, nope, we're going to call ourselves a store,
I'm a brick
okay?
and mortar. I'm a retailer. Like, that's what it
Yes.
is. Like, yeah, you're right. You absolutely right.
Yes, like if I'm paying this rent, listen, let's change the title.
Right, facts. So I have another segment. It's called "It's a Success, It's a Disaster." I want you to tell me about a time, like within your business, where you may have made a mistake, or like something completely went to shit, like it was all fucked up, and then but you learned something from the experience, and it made you like a better business owner. And this segment is brought to you by the Brownstone Experience. The Brownstone Experience is a wellness, fashion, and beauty experience inside of the Black woman community. They are currently sourcing Black-owned designers to add to their monthly collections. They are open to building creative partnerships with Black-owned product brands. We understand the old retail model does not work for both parties, and they are ready to create a new and innovative approach to meet clients. So definitely, guys, check out shopbrownstone.com/black and fashion. So tell us, and I'm trying to connect y'all because we all intertwined. This is another Black woman
Yes.
that is located in Texas. She's in Dallas, and she's doing somewhere like the market space and like what you're doing. You're just trying to bring the Black creative stuff together. So I hope that everybody just intertwines.
Yes,
Like my other
yes.
sponsor is it's a black girl. She's a lawyer. She's a fashion lawyer, so she makes sure the contracts, everything is on point, trademarks, everything.
I
So
don't have to search hard. Yeah.
yeah, like
And that's what
everything's
I'm
trying to
learning
come
too.
together.
Legal
Yeah.
documents. Yeah,
And she's
yeah.
great. And you could do retainers with her, everything. So I just hope to connect everybody. So tell me about a
Nice.
time where something was like, it went to hell and you learned something and you incorporated something new in your business.
Um, just recently, just recently, as in the hype of the opportunity, and I
Hmm.
should have renegotiated. I should have negotiated my rent from the beginning.
Okay.
Um, and during this pandemic, I just went with like, okay, we take it instead of really looking at the numbers. But let's see. I really don't have like a dramatic story. I would just say learning curves always happen because when you dealing with the financial side of your company, like you still the financial person, like you don't have a CFO, like now I just got one, but just doing your own bookkeeping and things like that, you start seeing it's like, oh, I should have just made this decision with the money that I had instead of this decision. But I honestly, wow, that's a great question because I wouldn't say I had nothing that was so dramatic as in losing funds.
Hmm.
I think I'm like I usually, hmm, I don't. Dang, I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. I mean, that's actually a good thing because you'd be surprised how many disaster stories that came across here. So it's a good thing that you don't
Well, when
have
we
them.
had, you know what, to be honest, let me not say that. When we had to close down our second store due to the fact that construction came, we was located next to a parking lot and
Hmm.
that brought a lot of traffic. And when they started developing on that premises, this is where I really needed a lawyer. One of my
Hmm.
mentor offered a lawyer, but it was a European lawyer, and he didn't believe in the company anyways. Because the way he managed that approach, it was like, oh, all they could offer you was a little like billboard on the side of the gate, but they
Hmm.
had both ends blocked, like walking to our store, so it stopped traffic completely. I would honestly say I should have fought a little harder instead of just taking like, okay, we not gonna renew our lease. I'm just gonna close my store. And yeah, I should have fought a little bit harder because for those developers to just come and shut down our business like that, I feel as though that wasn't right without no type of courtesy, just a little advertisement on the gate,
Gotcha. Yeah,
knocking
that's
us from
yeah.
both
No,
ends.
that's good. Now
Yeah.
that's a good story. Yeah, that's something that you need to share because people don't even know what to look out for, what to do. So it's just like you right, absolutely right about like it being just like learn it as you go. But now somebody else is gonna be able to take that information. Like I should negotiate. I should have did this. So even though it wasn't a complete disaster, it's still something that somebody can learn from, especially when it
And you
comes to
could
open brick
always
and
change
mortar.
your lawyer. Yep.
Yep.
Always, you could always change your lawyer. I wish I would have known that instead of just like, okay, well, you was referred by someone, and then you just literally was just like, oh, that's all that it could offer. It didn't fight for us, so
Hmm.
I should have been a little tougher with myself. Like, okay, find another lawyer that believes that you need to you belong, or you need funding to cover, because they didn't help at all to cover overhead or anything for the months that they was operating.
Gotcha. Perfect. Good to know. Okay, so the last segment is just called It's a Muse. And It's a Muse is sponsored by Chase Jackson Accounting. Do you need help with your business finances? If so, you can get it at Chase Jackson Accounting and Advisory. Chase Jackson is here to help with all your small business needs from business formation, accounting services, and taxes. Make sure you guys contact them via email at chasejacksonaccounting@gmail.com. Everything will be in the show notes. So just as we end out the podcast, I love for all the guests to just tell about something that inspires them, motivate them, whether it's something you read, a book, a meditation, a crystal, anything that you do just to keep your mental together, as an entrepreneur and this crazy world, just to, that keeps you going every day.
Well, yeah, I meditate. I really do meditate. One, as an entrepreneur, you have to learn how to quiet your mind
Hmm.
and really like quiet your mind and strategize. Because you could get overwhelmed with all
Yeah.
of the decisions. It's like every little decision is it's based off of you. Every little decision is like a puzzle piece.
Hmm.
So that is fearful sometimes. Like, oh, did I make the right decision? Am I making the right decision? So I've been doing meditation for probably like the same amount of time that I've been like in this industry, like 8 years, like just meditation. I've been practicing that. And I do that just to keep me grounded, just to keep me focused. And sometimes I do it in between my working hours, just to give my time for my mental to chill.
Gotcha.
So that is something that I practice, and also try to teach our customers, because the reason why it's a lifestyle is called that brand Fason Vive is your whole way of being, like from
Mm-hmm.
meditation to healthy eating. Um, and if you feel good, you also will look good.
Absolutely.
So yes, yes, yes. So meditation and anything like podcasts like this inspires me. Black people inspires me. People
Mm-hmm.
that goes at it every day, even just my network of people I work with, is just when they are energetic, motivated, it helps me. It's like an energy exchange.
Gotcha.
So my team helps me, they motivate me all the time. I have to show up just for them. I have to definitely show up. And what else? Oprah.
Oh yeah,
I'm a,
definitely
I'm
Oprah.
a, yes, Oprah Super Soul Conversation. That was like when Super Soul Conversation came out, that's when I knew I wasn't like a weirdo. I was like, oh, somebody out here in the world that's on
Mm-hmm.
TV, because I ain't watched Oprah before like that. But my mom did, but I didn't really watch it like that. And when I started watching Super Soul Conversation, I was like, she understands what I'm talking about, like law of attraction, what you think, your thoughts.
Mm-hmm.
You project your day
You absolutely
every
right.
day.
Mm-hmm. I just
Yeah.
read. I'm sorry to cut. I just found. I was looking at your IG and I was looking at your space. This is beautiful.
Oh, thank you,
Yeah,
Queen.
I just followed you from my business page, from my LC page, and I just looked at the space, and this is beautiful. I absolutely
Yeah,
love it.
so just people just vibrate me
Sure.
and keep me going.
Mm-hmm.
And literally, since I know this is something that I want to do, if just like if you have a 9 to 5, this is my 9 to 5, 24/7. So I
Mm-hmm.
have to show up for myself, and not just for myself, for just the journey.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes you just want to quit. It's like, nope, I already dig the hole, planted the seed. I got to keep going.
Absolutely, you're absolutely right. I love it. Just looking at your space inspired me. I want something bigger now.
You see, listen, we need your bag.
Oh my God! I was just like, this is beautiful. I want something bigger now. That
But
is
you know
amazing.
what? We are seeking funding. That's another thing too. I know every brand is seeking funding, but
Mm-hmm.
our pitch is totally different. It's like, hey, for us to thrive, we need to buy from these
Mm-hmm.
independent brands. Like, I don't like doing consignment, no, and a lot of brands don't like doing that either.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, even though we need to stock our shelves, and that helps. That really do help. I have some brands that will send us merchandise to stock our shelves. Once we sell it, we pay the invoice. It's called a net 30 and a net 60 term.
Gotcha.
Big companies do it. Small companies, it's hard for them to actually do it. It's like, oh, I got to produce first and then see if it sells.
Right.
But big companies do that. And then that's where brands need to understand too. That's not something new. We don't have to use the form consignment. We could say net 30.
Right.
We have 30 days to pay our invoice.
Yeah.
This helps me as a buyer instead of having lack of inventory to sell, because we are the sellers.
Right.
We sell. We are not the makers. We are not sitting there designing a taupe. We are not sitting there designing, some candles or nothing.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we take your product and we're just selling it.
Right.
So sometimes, like during this pandemic, yes, it is hard to stock our shelves with every brand that we want to stock our shelves with, because there's so many dope black owned brands.
Right.
So my pitch lately, not lately, all the time, give me funding so I can
Yeah.
purchase it a black brand, and then they make their money, and then it's that circle again. It's that
Right.
economic
You're
circle.
absolutely right. We're going to get that funding. All right. So thank you so much for joining me today. It was a pleasure speaking with you. Thank you so much. And as I always say, stay black, peace out. I'll make sure I put all of your information in the show notes so they can follow you, keep up with you, and we're going to get you some funding, sis. All right.
Appreciate you, Queen. And
No
this is an
problem.
awesome podcast.
Thank you. You have an amazing evening, love.
You
All
too.
right. Bye-bye.